Suddenly, it bit Stephen on the head, and Stephen screamed. He threw his arm out at the bear and fumbled for his gun. The bear jumped backwards, knocking the gun out of Stephen's hand. In a panic, the bear hit its head on the tarpaulin, which collapsed and engulfed both the bear and the three friends. "29-year-old Stephen Vouch was on a 16-day hunting trip with his two friends. They were in Idaho hunting bighorn sheep. They ventured into some of the most spectacular countryside in the United States. Taking their boat down the beautiful middle fork of the Salmon River, they witnessed incredible scenery. The wilderness is vast and promises world-class trout fishing, hot springs, and wildlife. Deep canyons and whitewater rivers carve their way through the steep, rugged mountains. A long stretch of the river, almost 100 miles long, is popular with whitewater rafters and thrill seekers. It is an outdoor adventurer's paradise. Stephen and his friends had been hunting bighorn sheep before. Male bighorns can weigh more than 350 pounds or 160 kilos. Some stand at 40 inches or 1 meter tall at the shoulder. They are an impressive animal with large curved horns weighing up to 30 pounds. A hunter that kills a bighorn sheep ram in Idaho must present the horns to a Fish and Game regional office and fill in a mortality report. Acquiring a hunting license is strict and carefully monitored. The group of friends rafted down the river, stopping at various points during their hunt, taking their time to take photos of the scenery, scout the landscape for bighorn sheep, and pause for lunch breaks. The three friends were having the adventure of a lifetime. At night, they moored the boat and made camp by the water's edge, sleeping only beneath a tarpaulin and beside their campfire. The three friends were enjoying this incredible time together. On the night of October 1st, the men bedded down for the night after a tiring day rafting on the river. In the early hours of October 2nd, Stephen awoke to something pulling his hair. He tossed and turned in his sleeping bag, still half asleep. When the tugging on his hair became harder and quite painful, Stephen blearily opened his eyes. He could hear heavy breathing, a deep puffing sound. He came face to face with a black bear. It was breathing down on his face, muzzling his hair and tugging at it. It was a young male bear, weighing about 250 pounds. Suddenly, it bit Stephen on the head, and Stephen screamed. He threw his arm out at the bear and fumbled for his gun. The bear jumped backwards, knocking the gun out of Stephen's hand. In a panic, the bear hit its head on the tarpaulin, which collapsed and engulfed both the bear and the three friends. Momentarily, they scrambled around, frantically trying to untangle themselves from the tarp. Finally free, Stephen's friend pulled out his .45 caliber handgun and shot the bear. Injured and afraid, the bear immediately climbed up a tree. The men shone their torches up at it. They could see it hunched amongst the branches, clinging on to the trunk. Stephen grabbed the gun, took aim at the animal, and shot it dead. The bear tumbled out of the tree, landing heavily on the ground. The men breathed a sigh of relief. They inspected Stephen's wounds. They weren't as bad as they could have been. Officials believed the bear was merely curious. If it had intended to kill Stephen straight away, it would have done so. This was the second attack that year. It had been a particularly hard year for bears because there had been wildfires and drought in the area. This had resulted in fewer berries for the bears, which are usually a vital food source. Hungry and bold, the bear could have been investigating the men's campsite, scavenging for food. With more and more rafters exploring the Salmon River, trash, food scraps, and leftovers are enticing bears within close proximity to humans. On this occasion, the three friends had stored their food properly, at a significant distance from the camp and in bear-proof lockers. The men had brought with them a medical first aid kit for emergencies. They patched Stephen up as best as they could, skinned the black bear, and waited for morning. They didn't have a satellite phone with them, so they needed to get their injured friend to the hospital themselves. At first light, they hurriedly packed up their belongings, They were miles from civilization in the middle of the Idaho wilderness. They needed to get Stephen medical attention quickly. Rafting down the Salmon River, the young adventurers grappled with the rapids, paddling frantically to get their friend to safety. After 3 days of hard rafting, the group of friends finally made it downstream to Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness. This is an enormous area of natural habitat covering more than 2.3 million acres. They made their way to an airstrip, and from there, the group was flown out. Looking out of the aircraft windows and down at the immense landscape, Stephen felt incredibly lucky to be alive. He had survived a bear attack and lived to tell the tale. He doesn't blame the bear and understands that he was slow-moving protein for the bear. Next time, though, he says he will definitely be staying in a tent and not just in a sleeping bag under the stars. Stephen was taken to the hospital where he received medical treatment for his attack. He tested negative for the rabies test and was lucky to get away with only a few cuts and scrapes. Amazingly, he required no stitches. He was planning on being back hunting several weeks later. How to be black bear safe. Number 1, make noise when in bear territory so that you don't startle a bear, making them more likely to attack. Number 2, keep your distance and never get between a mother and her cubs. Number 3, travel in groups and be on the lookout at all times. Number 4, if you see a bear advancing, talk calmly and wave your arms. This helps the bear identify you as human rather than as a prey animal. Number 5, pick up small children immediately and stay calm. Number 6, do not drop your backpack, as this can help shield your back during an attack. Number 7, do not climb a tree, as bears are expert climbers. Number 8, do not run, as bears often chase fleeing animals. Instead, hold your ground. Number 9, for brown and grizzly bears, play dead. Spread your legs to make it harder for the bear to turn you over. Number 10, for black bears, do not play dead. Try to escape if possible to a car or building. Fight back with blows to the face. Use anything you can get your hands on. Number 11, bear spray is often considered effective. However, others prefer to carry a firearm. There are risks of misfiring guns, missing the bear during the panic, and even accidentally hitting other people if under attack. However, the effectiveness of bear spray is influenced by wind direction and can even be blown back into your own eyes. It's often debated which is more effective. However, people often carry both spray and a gun in bear country.